All right, here we go. Happy Monday, everybody, or whatever day you're listening. Today we are talking about leadership, and then I have a random fun, or I think it's going to be fun segment that I want to try, and then we're going to wrap up by telling you what we're doing with Hello Hair Pro, how and why. And first, which is not first because this is not our first time recording this, I want to admit something here live, and it's definitely not live because we're recording, but it adds drama, right? Anyways, so I feel like I'm really good at pointing out like what not to do. And I want to get better at giving people more to do stuff, more action. Like you're good at giving people action steps. Like when we do mentoring calls, you're always like, here's your homework. Here's what I want you to do. And I'm always like, don't do that. So, but people want to know
people need
what to do.
Yeah.
So today, after I complain about what I keep seeing everywhere about leadership and what prompted then
you can give some positive
this
feedback.
episode, we'll give you some action steps to step up your leadership game.
It.
So, as I said on the first, second, and third recordings of this podcast, I don't know where I saw this, but a few weeks back, I remember that I grabbed my phone and opened up the notepad and wrote down that poor leaders worry about how things will affect them and what sacrifices they have to make instead of approaching scenarios with empathy and compassion. Mm-hmm. So that's not a good thing.
No, not at all.
You have to.
It's not about you.
I understand that there's frustration. Mm-hmm. I understand that you don't want to make the sacrifice. But at the end of the day, if you chose to have the business, it's your responsibility. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And also the empathy and compassion, that like, if you have employees or you have customers, or hopefully you have customers at least, right?
Hopefully.
But if you have employees and customers and there's an inconvenience, there's inconvenience all to other people as well.
Correct.
So for you not to acknowledge that at least and handle yourself as a professional, mm-hmm. I think you're doing yourself a major disservice.
Yeah, I think people think it's easy to open a business and run it. And there are a lot of responsibilities.
It is easy. It's not easy to do it well, though.
Yeah, true. Well, there's a lot of responsibilities that will fall on you as the owner, as the leader, and how you handle those, that's on you. And if you're listening and you're like, oh, I do not handle stuff very well, they're talking to me. It's not that hard to change. You just need to work on probably putting systems in place and get a coach to help you get some of the stress that's probably on your plate that's not allowing you to lead your team as well as you can. And then you can show up and be there for them. Yeah.
So before we get into what to do, because Jen's
really good at
telling you what to do. I want to complain some more.
Okay, go ahead.
That is all good stuff, though. This iced coffee is good, too. I made an iced coffee. It's a beautiful day.
I do not like iced coffee.
No one asked you.
If they did. I drink hot coffee all year round.
Going back to the sacrifices thing, being a leader means that sometimes you're going to have to make sacrifices that others won't, or others can't, or others shouldn't.
Right.
It's your business at the end of the day. So bad leaders out there, you're not willing to make sacrifices.
Yeah, done.
If they do make sacrifices, you're going to hear about it.
Right.
So either they're going to rub your face in it, or they're going to put it out there how much they do, or how much effort they put in. They need all the praise, right? So that's another example of what I believe a poor or bad leader would look like, or quality, right? Mm-hmm. And if you do this stuff, it doesn't mean you're a bad person. You just might not be a good leader or a strong leader. And I believe leadership is a skill. You work on it, you get better at it.
Yes.
Period.
Absolutely.
Could you be born, like, are there natural leaders? Sure. Yeah. But do they have to keep working on that? Yeah.
Yeah. You're going to learn from all the mistakes you make, and you should hopefully learn from them and grow from them. And then you become a better leader.
One of the other things that I have on my list here is a bad leader is going to just keep adding things. So, for example, I have a salon. I do haircuts and, chemical services, color services, all the basic stuff. And that's not working. I have no staff. I have no clients. So what should I do? I'm going to add extensions. I'm going to add whatever, right?
Right.
I'm going to add a tattoo artist
You're not
in the
actually
back.
solving the problems of why you're in that situation.
Yeah, you're going to be in the same problem. You're going to be in the same scenario.
Yeah.
But just with more things to juggle, more things that are going to take your attention away from your main business.
Right.
And if your business isn't running efficiently, you shouldn't really be expanding and doing a whole bunch of other things.
Yes.
And I learned that we saw that a ton in the gym world. So we had a gym, and it is tempting too to get involved in some of the other things, but you would see people that had gyms and you could tell that they weren't doing all that great, because all of a sudden they would be starting like their apparel company, and they'd be starting like to sell, like pyramid scheme supplements and things. So everyone's trying to supplement by expanding, and that's all well and good. I don't have anything against pyramid schemes. If you want to have a pyramid scheme, go for it.
Yeah.
If you want to be the bottom stone on a pyramid scheme,
have at it.
Have at it. Yeah, I don't care. But bad leaders definitely, in my opinion, use that strategy to try to make it look like they're doing all this stuff and that they're fabulous. But in reality, if you're not sort of facing the facts, you're doing a major disservice, again, to yourself and any employees involved.
And then you're probably spread so thin. And again, you can't really lead your team or lead your business.
Yeah, for sure. The last thing before we jump into some things that you can do that I've noticed is that bad leaders think that they shouldn't have problems, or that they should be able to avoid problems, or like the competition thing comes up a lot. Like, I shouldn't have competition. I've heard that. I've had people tell me that I don't feel like I should have competition.
Okay.
Like, people feel entitled to certain areas. And that happened again. This probably happens in every industry, but in the gym world, we would see that too. A gym would open close to another gym, and that gym would lose their mind because they're going to steal all the clients or whatever, and that's a scarcity mindset. Yeah. And I think that it's not about avoiding problems, but it's understanding how to deal with them better, how to process your stress. And you earlier said to create systems. Like, so for everything that troubles you, create a system around it to make it easier for yourself or for whoever has to do it. So, all right, we're at almost 8 minutes here, and I've complained enough.
Okay. Interesting.
So
someone else might come up and complain in a minute.
Let's talk.
Yes, one of our re-records was because our 4-year-old was complaining that he saw an ant.
There was an ant on a blanket or something.
So that's why I said that.
All right. I thought you were talking to me, like, no. Really? You're done?
And Todd goes, "You live in New England, dude. There's ants."
Yeah, this kid.
Sorry. That was a sidebar.
Yesterday he asked me about a beetle or a little bug was in between the glass panes on the door.
Yeah.
Because the one slides up and one slides down. And he was like, "Well, how's he going to get out now?" And he stood there just watching him. And he was like mad. And I'm like, I don't know how he got in there. I don't know how he's going to get out.
He'll figure it out. Just like that ant will.
All right. So let's run through this list of what to do. So if you want to step up your leadership game, there are probably 1,000 things you could do. I've got 10.
Okay.
So number 1, keep learning.
Absolutely.
Learning is huge. Education is huge. I'm not talking about getting better at your fucking balayage.
Right.
I'm talking about leadership skills.
Working on your self-improvement.
I don't care if you're staying up with current trends. That's great, unless they're business trends. We're talking about business here. Mm-hmm. That stuff is important too if you're behind the chair.
Yeah. If you're the technician also, then yes, of course. But
if you're going to be the entrepreneur, you have to keep learning about business. Things change so much. Mm-hmm. And I don't know where you're going to get your information. Like, I like to read. I like to listen to audiobooks. You are a new reader.
I am.
How many books have you read so far this year?
3.
3. Interesting. Mm-hmm. 1 was your goal. So
I know. Killing it. Crushing it.
Maybe it's podcasts. Yeah. Maybe it's getting involved in a group. I don't know, but you need to keep learning. The next thing I have here is to practice communication.
Ah, that's a good one.
If you can't communicate, you can't lead, period. And communicate well. Yes.
because there's a difference there. You're like, oh, I communicate.
I was giving the audience the benefit of the doubt.
You're just
there.
talking at everybody. You're not communicating.
Yeah, that's
You're not
true.
listening, asking open-ended questions so you can actually get some feedback of what's going on. Then you are not communicating at all.
True story. Yeah, I don't really have much else to say about communication. It's something that you can go on YouTube. There are TED Talks.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of stuff about communication and how to be effective. And I do agree 100% on what you just said with like active listening. You know, don't just tell people what to do and walk away. That's not communicating. That's not a conversation at all. Number 3 is lead by example.
Love that one. And I strongly think it's a good one.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't want to get too personal, but people that you've worked with in the past would not lead by example.
Yeah.
You know, you know, the owner, if the owner of the business is showing up late, you know, coming in after having a couple drinks, doing whatever, like doing stuff that you wouldn't want the staff to do, that's not okay.
Right.
For so many reasons I shouldn't have to get into, but here we are.
Yeah, I do think it's, I don't know, from a place of being a leader, if you're going to say like, you know, I want you to show up before your client gets here and have yourself ready, put together and all that, but you're not doing the same. And if you want to play the card, and I've been around these people, it's just like, well, I'm the owner, I don't have to. Like, I already put my time in. Well, you're going to start to develop a staff that gets a bit salty, just like you. And they're like, oh yeah, well, I've been here long enough. Someone else can do it when you hire them. Like, it doesn't go well. It doesn't end well. And it trickles down. If you want to have a bad attitude, everyone else will eventually follow your lead with the bad attitude. And then you're looking around like, why does everyone why does everyone suck here? Yeah. And it started with you. You sucked first. You suck. And then it went from there. So it's not always easy to admit you're the beginning of the problem. But once you do, then you can be the one that fixes it and reinvent yourself and re-inspire a team. It is possible. Yeah,
I've worked for people. So I did, I don't know how long it was, not even a year, but maybe you remember, but I did some electrical construction.
I remember.
I had one of my bosses throw a screwdriver, not at me, one of those a big flathead screwdriver at another employee, an apprentice. So I was working alongside of, and it stuck in the fucking wall. And I was like, that could have killed somebody. Also, it could have inspired him to throw something back. And then what do we have? A free for all? Like a Wild West over here? People just getting stabbed with screwdrivers?
Jesus.
But yeah, that's not a good example of leadership. Nice yawn. Are you tired?
Yeah, I need a nap.
It's the weather, I think. So yeah, lead by example. Number 4, and this is a big one. You have to empower and create opportunities for other people.
Absolutely. That's important.
If you put people in a position to succeed, you'll succeed. If you show people how to be successful, how to accomplish their job better, how to reach their goals, all those things, you'll tend to attract that for yourself.
And I think the creating opportunities is really important because, I mean, you're always going to have some staff that they're just going to chug along and they don't need anything, and that's just where they're at.
Yeah. Some people aren't. Yeah.
The idea
you can
is,
lead a horse to water.
Yeah,
right?
and you can have all kinds work under your roof, but there are going to be some go-getters under your roof that may look up to you and want to be part of your team, but they see the ceiling and there's nothing beyond it. So they're then put in a position where the only way for them to do something different and keep growing is they have to leave. So you want to have opportunities, or at least your door open to conversations, that communication thing all the time, so that the staff that want to stay, but like just keep on growing, and who knows where that goes, still feel like they can be part of your team and they're not just going to like level out type thing.
Yeah, I feel like I had a good example and it just slipped out of my head about creating opportunities or like a strategy for it, but maybe I'll put it in the show notes if I remember. But yeah, creating opportunities, you talked about the ceiling thing, and I agree with that 100%. If you're, if people see a ceiling, or worse, they reach the ceiling.
Yeah, what's next?
You know, people get bored, people get antsy, And you mentioned go-getters. You're always going to have those people that want to tinker with stuff and want to explore and push the boundaries. And you have to be able to guide them and to allow them to do that. Maybe within your, brand, of course. But if people aren't feeling that, yeah, they're gonna move on. Or worse, they're gonna stay and start tinkering with things, and then now you have problems to fix. All right. I think we're on number 5. Delegate.
That's a good one. And a very difficult one for some.
Yeah. So like who?
I don't know. Could be me.
Could be you. So delegating is important. Why is it important? It's important because you're not only getting things off of your plate so that you can focus on other things, but you're also showing people that you trust them. You're putting them in a position, and by saying, so if you do this properly and you mentioned systems earlier, if you have a system in place for whatever, answering the phone, and you teach it to somebody, and then you say, okay, you can do that now, go. I don't need to supervise you. So the person feels engaged in your business. They feel part of your culture, part of your brand. And I keep having these like moments where I forget what I'm about to say.
Well, I can take over if you'd like.
Sure, why not?
Okay. So I think one of the things you said that is to me extremely important for somebody, if you're like me and you delegate and then you want to micromanage. So the reason why you're micromanaging.
I think it was trust. I was going to say.
Trust. Okay. So another point though would be the reason why you're micromanaging is because you didn't delegate appropriately and honestly with what you wanted done. So if you're like too nice, you're like, well, yeah, just go answer the phone and just make sure you say hi and whatever. And then you listen, you're like, that wasn't right. They need to do it this way. Well, then you didn't actually have a system in place of how you want your phone answered. So when you delegated it, you set that person up for failure rather than setting them up for success. So if you can truly say, I'm going to trust this person to delegate, then you need to not only tell them how to do it, show them, this is how I would like it done. This is the way that I think it would be best done. Show them that way. Then have them repeat it to you and then be like, okay, that looks great. Now go do that. But don't delegate, walk away and then be like, well, hopefully they just learn it. And then now you're coming back on them. So you have to delegate with authority, with intention and setting them up for success to be done the way that when you're not there, you'd still be smiling out like upon them type thing.
I've seen that mistake in the restaurant industry before, where it's like, no, only this person does this. Only this person makes the soup. Only this person makes the pizzas. Only this person writes the recipes. And it's difficult to expand or experience any growth with that sort of mindset. What happens if the pizza guy and I've seen this actual scenario. What happens if the pizza guy can't make it in? Right. Now your business doesn't have pizzas. So I actually was reading about a local business. I don't think it's there anymore. Shocker. But somebody went like out of their way. They drove like half an hour, 45 minutes or whatever to get pizza. And the pizza maker wasn't there. And the pizza maker was the owner. And they went on a rant. This was the business. So the person left a review saying like, hey, I came to get pizza. There was none. So I wish I could give you a review, but whatever. And they were irritated and gave it like 2 stars or 3 stars, whatever. Blame them. Yeah, I don't blame them either. But then the owner came back and was like, I'm the owner of a business. I have a family.
Yeah, no one cares.
Blah, blah. Yeah, no one cares.
I mean, people don't get me wrong. Like people care a little bit, but at the end of the day, they want the goods you're providing, and they expect it at whatever level you're advertising you're going to deliver them at.
Yes.
Period.
Yes. So it's not that people don't care or that they can't relate. It's that
he still wanted his pizza, so you should have a system in place so someone else can make the pizza.
Yeah, and if it's important for you to tell the story about your family and stuff, tell that story. But don't wait until a negative and then try to use it. Like that's not. But anyways, if that person had just taught someone else how to make pizza, we wouldn't have had to read that.
Yep.
Anyways, number 6 is actively build and foster your culture. We have meetings with our staff to touch base. What's going on? What's going well? What can we do? How can we serve you better? That sort of stuff. It's important.
Yeah.
You just want to, like, I guess, remind people it's a little
And it keeps you that touch on your business.
Yeah,
If you're not in there every day and you don't see everybody, at least you have some sort of connection where they have a connection to you.
Yeah, which you don't need to be in there every day.
Correct. So that's why.
If you have all these, like if
Yeah.
you have the systems and stuff
Correct.
in place, systems isn't even on my list here, but in order to do these things, in order to create opportunities and delegate, you're going to have systems.
Correct.
I do think social media helps with the culture thing too. You just have to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
So if your salon is not as clean as it should be,
Mm-hmm.
and you go around telling people on social media how clean your salon is, you're going to have an issue when the people actually show up.
Right.
So as long as you're using social for the right way,
Yeah.
I would say, you'll be fine.
You can back it up.
And it will help. Like
Yeah.
people, you should be honest. Like people should know what to expect when they show up. It goes back to the pizza guy.
Right.
Number 7, stay organized. Is that our dog?
Yeah, I thought it was
Whining?
Oliver. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Oh, sorry.
staying organized is important. If you are running around all disheveled and you're like,
Ugh.
well, you know how it is, hustle culture. No,
So
again,
annoying.
nobody cares that you're hustling. Everyone's hustling.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll really help you as a leader if you're organized. And one of the very simple ways that it could help you is that when somebody comes to you for something, you have a process or you have some way to figure it out. Even if you don't have the exact answer, you're like, oh, interesting. We've never been asked that question.
Right.
Let me figure it out
Yeah.
and get back to you.
Let me think. And
that's your process.
Right.
But you need to have some sort of organization. It carries over also into your, so if you're building a team, we use a communication software.
Mm-hmm.
And that's our way to sort of stay organized and in touch with our staff. If they need days off, they go into the schedule channel.
Yeah,
And
it's also a way to
goes-
avoid 50 sticky notes on your desk.
Yes, which is not organized.
So to have something like
Yeah.
that, like a Slack communication,
We've all
really
worked
is
in,
amazing.
Yeah, we use Slack. There are a million
Yeah.
out there. You can use whatever, but the important thing is to have something that keeps things organized.
Yes. I hope someone's laughing like, oh, I have 50 sticky notes on my desk. I definitely need to get organized and to have a better system.
We have all been there, done that, or worked for a place that has the million sticky
Yeah.
notes. I remember working for restaurants and you'd go in and you'd find like a sticky note that says like, call Dave about the fish order or whatever. And then you're like, hey, when is this from? And they're like, oh, that's like months old. Like, okay, this is not organized.
No.
All right. Number 8,
Yes.
focus on real customer service.
Oh, very important.
Yeah, it's important as a leader to recognize what industry you're in. So in the hair industry, we're in the service industry. We provide
Whether you like it or not.
Yeah, whether you like it or
you
not.
picked it.
So if you're not focused on taking care of your clients, your staff is not going to be focused on. It goes back to that lead by example.
Right. It'll just trickle right down from you. Absolutely.
So create ways to engage with your clients. I don't know what that looks like.
Right. Every salon's going to be different.
We can work
Every
through
leader
it. Yeah,
will.
if somebody wants to call, we'll work through it with you. But yeah, that's
just what it is.
number 8. Focus on real customer service. And I think I wrote real because I see often people push what they want their like business to look like and not where their bread and butter is.
Right.
And your client base or your base clientele is not who you want to piss off.
Mm-hmm.
You want to keep them. So if you, for example, are doing, I don't know, what's the biggest service you do?
Color foil, like a retouch with foils on it, I guess.
Cool. So
The haircut.
you don't want to push that whole group of people aside.
Right.
For to prioritize, say you get super into like perms. I don't know, whatever. I'm just
Sure.
picking something. I don't do chemical stuff, so I don't know. That's why I'm struggling over here.
I like it. It's kind of fun.
But if you're now
perm
all
a
of your
little.
stuff is focused on perms, and you're like, I couldn't deal with that other stuff. All those clients leave. Now you don't have a business.
Right.
So you've got to focus on the customer service and what customers want. I'm not saying don't do what you want. You can build a business around that, but don't ignore your bread and butter.
Right. Or have a solution if that isn't stuff that you want to do. How are you going to unload that, still keep them happy and make a transition? And that's still good customer service. Like, you're still taking care of the customer.
Yeah, there are always going to be things that you don't do. Like, we don't do hair replacements.
Right.
But we have somebody.
Right.
So if people contact us, which they do, we're happy to pair you up with another business that does that we
Right.
trust.
Correct.
And that's customer service.
Yes.
So number 9 is embrace feedback. It's not always going to be positive. It's not always going.
And you're probably going to need a pause in order to embrace it and then speak to it.
Yeah. So if you want to be a good leader, you're going to have to get feedback, and you're going to have to absorb that feedback and like leverage it. You're going to have to apply it. I don't have an example, but
no, I think this one's almost better without examples, because it's just going to come your way. It's going to hit you in the face. It's going to hurt probably into your soul at some point. Of course. But it's really how you deal with it. And here's the other part. I do think if somebody's giving you feedback, generally it's because they fucking care. So like, they care enough to be like, hey, I had this experience. It wasn't great. They could have just went somewhere else, but they chose to tell you. And generally it's because like they want to still be part of what you're offering. Just this is something they needed to unload to you. But how you deal with the next part of that is really where you grow as a leader and make big strides in your business.
For sure. All right. No feedback. Will you push that door? All I can hear is that dog. Just push the door. It's right next to you.
Oh, your shoe's there.
All right. Well, that was loud. My shoe's in the way because I open the windows because it's so nice. Yeah. Can you not be so loud? Our listeners are annoyed now.
Sorry.
That's not customer service.
Sorry.
Yeah, embrace feedback. So number 10, and then we'll move on. You've got to be able to get over yourself, and you've got to be able to network and collaborate in the real world. I'm not talking about on social media.
Right.
If you can't have a conversation, right, that goes back to communication, number 2. You're not going to be successful as a leader.
Right.
If you're not willing to show up when you said you would show up, you're not going to be a good leader. If you're not willing to work with anyone because, you know, you're the best and whatever, you're not a good leader.
Right.
You have to be willing to put yourself in uncomfortable situations. You have to be willing to go to the networking events that you don't want to go to all the time because you get tired. You've got to be willing to do that stuff, because as a leader, the people who follow you are just going to sit around if you just sit around.
And I will say this because I just did
also, it's more fun to get out in the real world and have conversations and meet cool people. But anyways, go ahead. I'll show
I just got somehow into an advisory board by accident, but part of it.
You couldn't wait to tell everyone that.
It's exciting for sure. I just didn't know the opportunity was there for me. But anyway, I can brag for a sec.
I think it was both of us, but yeah.
Well, yeah, you're coming on board too.
Yeah.
But anyway, I took a meeting.
I didn't need to tell everyone.
I'm going to brag. It's just it's our podcast. I can brag.
It's a good leadership skill.
Good leadership skill. I don't have to, I'm not leading anybody. Maybe I am. I don't even know.
Just kidding.
But speaking to collabs, this was something I wanted to have been reaching out to local schools, and most often nobody returns a phone call, and I just want to help. But this just came up at the right time, and the information that I was able to gain for our business was amazing, and stuff that I didn't know that New Hampshire did, and all of this. And through this now, Todd and I will go to another meeting, and they have stuff that they're just like, we want to share all this stuff with you. And in return, they're excited to have some business owners that are behind the chair in front of their students to inspire them for real life, what they're going to get exposed to after. But if I didn't take that meeting, which was a sacrifice because we have the kids and whatever, it put stuff on hold, that none of this would have happened. So you do have to get out there. You've got to make these meetings and create these relationships, because it's very important. And then it does inspire your staff that all this new stuff's happening and that you're showing that you give a shit about the business you're in.
Yes. Yes, my mic was off. All right. We are going to do a new little segment.
Okay.
This is what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have you rank 5 things.
Okay.
Right? This is going to be superheroes.
Okay.
This is completely irrelevant. This is just for fun.
Okay.
All right? So I have 5 superheroes.
Okay.
But you're going to rank them blindly.
Okay.
So it's 1 through 5.
Yes.
I'm going to give you the first one. You're going to put it 1 through 5.
Okay.
And you're not going to know.
I can't use that number again.
No.
Oh, okay.
Can't.
All right.
I mean, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
All right. Iron Man.
I mean, not my favorite, so I'll go
1 through 5.
Wait, is 1 the best or 5's the best?
1's the best.
All right, I'll put Iron Man at I don't know, you have Captain America on there. 4.
4 is Iron Man.
Okay.
All right. Spider-Man.
Oh. 1.
Interesting.
I like Spider-Man. I almost gave him 2, but I'm going to go 1.
Wolverine.
Oh, he's cool too. I'll get him 2.
2 is Wolverine.
I like Wolverine too.
Batman.
Ah, shoot. That's what I was hoping for. All right. So I put Iron Man. Where's Iron Man 4?
Yeah.
Batman can be 3.
Okay. And then Hulk.
Oh, 5. That's totally fine with me.
All right. So there you have it. That's Jen's superhero list.
I'm okay
Spider-Man
with
at
that.
number 1.
Yeah.
Wolverine number 2, because you messed up.
Yeah, I probably would have put Batman there, but that's okay.
I would have put Batman first, but I
was thinking that, but I
But you
recently been watching some Spider-Man stuff, and the new Spider-Verse is coming out in June, so I was like, I don't know, I kind of like Spider-Man right now.
And you didn't know. Like, what if Batman wasn't on there?
True.
You know?
Then Spider-Man still would have ranked. So
you went Spider-Man, Wolverine, Batman at number 3, Iron Man, and then Hulk.
yeah.
So I would have probably gone, and no one asked, but Batman, Iron Man, Wolverine.
Oh, you like Iron Man. Okay.
Wolverine, Spider-Man, and then Hulk. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I do like Iron Man.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's not my fave.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I'm not
Too
sure.
cocky?
I don't know.
I like it. The arrogance.
The top 3 are there, so that's cool. I like it.
All right, so we're going to finish up this episode real quick. Let's talk about Hello Hair Pro.
Yeah, this is good.
We were thinking about it a little bit, and
Oops, sorry,
a big thing I want people to know is that there's no secret sauce.
Yes.
And we're not sitting here trying to get people to sign up for courses or modules and all that stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that approach either. But what we want to do with people and what we have been doing with people is that we want to help you create your own systems for success.
Yes, it's very individual to what you need.
Yeah. And
You may not even know what you need.
And so do we have like methods for going through things and working through things? Like when we start with people, it's important to start with like your foundations, your mission and your vision. What are we trying to accomplish here? What are your core principles? Because if I don't know your core principles, I can't help you.
And if you don't know them, then we need to figure it out.
Right, exactly. And so like the information is out there. All of the information that we share, it's available. The internet has like, there's probably 1,000 people saying the same stuff. Are some of the ideas our own original? I guess. Yeah, probably. Most
Well, there's stuff we do, how we run our business.
Yeah, most likely. But I'm sure it was influenced by something somewhere. So we're not trying to really come up with anything original. We're just trying to curate information and get the right information to the right people at the right times for wherever they are in their journey.
Yeah, and I think we're not trying to be like I hate this word, but it's the only one I can think of, like a cookie cutter type mentoring situation where nothing against, like you said, modules and all that, but that's pretty much like one shoe fits all type thing, and you're going to learn this and you put your information in it, and that may work for some. We're kind of like, what's your mission, what's your vision, and let's map out a path for you, whether yours goes straight or whether it's windy or whether it's up a hill and down a hill. It just depends. And you're allowed to kind of work on that with us and take it as fast or as slow as need be. I think that's unique.
I like that. Yeah. yeah, again, I'm not anti, like people have courses. A lot of business mentors in the past that I've worked with have modules and courses, and it's cool. I do think sometimes they probably need to update them more.
Yes, I think that is one of the downfalls of that.
Yeah, people change, business changes, things change. And it's different from like what, I don't want to like put things in boxes, but what works in like downtown in a major city might be different than, is likely different than what works, in a rural situation or whatever demographics you want to look at. But we're not interested in pretending that we've got the secret sauce. What we do want to do is show you how to grow your business. We want to speed up your growth because that we can do, because we've made probably 2 million, 3 million mistakes. You don't have to make those mistakes.
We'll help you.
You can make your own mistakes.
Yeah.
And then the big piece of it is just provide accountability.
Yes.
Because
I would agree.
You can have all the information in the world. If you're not applying it, it doesn't matter.
If you're just sitting with it in a notebook or your other 5 notebooks or whatever piece of stuff you write on, your sticky notes, it's not doing anything for you. And I think we keep people consistent. They're consistently working and growing, and that's huge too. Yes. Yeah. So, yeah.
And like you said, it's at your own speed. So some people need breaks here and there.
Yeah.
Great. Take a break.
We encourage that. We sometimes even can recognize it before you do. And then we're like, this is where you're like, oh, why didn't I think of that? Like,
I think in the beginning of the episode, I mentioned why we're doing this too. So that's simple to me, and you can talk about why you like doing it, but we just want to help people. I want to help people. That's really it. Yeah. And then like off of that is I like to build things. So the podcast sort of popped up out of a request, and we moved forward, and then we started exploring what happens if we shared this information and worked one-on-one with people, or we've done 2-on-2.
Yeah.
Multiple owner. We have 2 owners of our business. So owners with 2
what did I used to call that?
Or whatever.
A dual partnership.
Dual partnership. Yeah. So yeah, we just thought it was something that we should explore, and here we are. So do you want to add anything to that? I
think for me personally, I have been doing hair for 20 years, and I know a lot of people that have gone out, opened salons or on their own, and they just become stagnant real fast, and they're bored and they're uncreative and all of these things, and they don't really know how to get out of that or how to do things differently. And so I think for Todd and I, it just we've seen all different types of businesses. I've been in this one a long time. Todd's newer into it, and we just have a perspective that I feel can really help people if you still want to be doing it and doing it well and growing. We just have a different eye on it that can help. And I think it helps people who set goals actually meet them and succeed them, or see new opportunities that they never thought would be presented to them, because you have us to help you open your eyes and realize you can do that. And then you do a little research like, whoa, I really can do this. And that's fun.
Yeah, it's interesting because we both like bring wildly different approaches to this. So you have obviously the experience. You've been educating for like 20 plus years, and you've seen all the trends. You've seen the trends come back around. You've been there, done all that stuff. You've been a commission employee, a commission owner, a rental employee, or a rental renter.
Renter.
Not an employee, but you know what I mean? Yeah. So you've gone through and you have experience in all of those scenarios. And my background is coaching. Like I coach. I like to build teams when I worked in restaurants, and when I worked in gyms, it was helping people get to their goals and figuring out what it takes to get you there. Some people I can yell at and push, and some people need a softer touch, and that's sort of what we bring, you know?
I would agree.
Anyways, that's it. And we have an outro, so we just sort of end the show. But I want to say thanks for listening. And if you need anything, just reach out.
Yeah, look out for those ants. They're in New England.
They are in New
England. Might be climbing on your blankets.
Bye.
Bye.